You're watching Business 360. The Union Cabinet has cleared an employment-linked incentive scheme with an outlay of over 1 lakh crore rupees. The Cabinet has also given the green light to a new research and development fund worth 1 lakh crore rupees. Both these are not new announcements. These were part of the budget announcements made by the Finance Minister earlier this year. Now, to discuss the employment-linked incentive scheme, the decision that has been cleared by the Cabinet today, we're joined by FICCI Senior Vice President Anant Goenka. He's also the Vice Chairman of the RPG Group. Also with us on the show, the former President of FICCI, Pati Singhania. He's currently the CMD of JK Paper. Gentlemen, appreciate you joining us here on the program. These are not new announcements. They were announced by the Finance Minister in the budget. What is new, though, now are the details of how this scheme is actually going to work. I'm highlighting for the benefit of our viewers what the support to employers will entail as part of this scheme. The government will incentivize employers up to 3,000 rupees per month for 2 years for each additional employee with sustained employment for at least 6 months. For the manufacturing sector, the incentives will be extended to year 3 and year 4 as well. All establishments which are registered with the EPFO will be required to hire at least 2 additional employees for employees with less than 50 employees, or 5 additional employees for employers with 50 or more employees on a sustained basis for at least 6 months. Anant Goenka, these details were awaited. Now that the scheme and its contours are known, what do you believe the offtake will be? What do you make of the details announced by the government, the incentives that have now been finally put on the table?
Yeah, I think it's an excellent boost towards generating employment. We are finding that as productivity and automation in manufacturing is growing, the pace of growth of job creation is no longer at the pace of growth of revenue growth or growth of manufacturing that used to happen. So to that extent, this is very timely. While it was announced a year ago, it's great to see the details of it coming out. I think it really supports the entire life cycle that the PM has been focusing on, which was first the PM internship scheme, the skilling of ITIs, and now the Part A and Part B of focus on first-time employees as well as for employers, particularly on the manufacturing side. I think it's extremely comprehensive and very timely and much needed for the economy at this time. And I think the real focus on and benefit will come to MSMEs as well as the labor-intensive sectors. So we look at it very positively and are excited to see how to put it into action.
Yes, it's an important point that you made there. Let me get Mrs. Singhania to comment on that. Mrs. Singhania, as Anant Goenka was pointing out that, with smarter factories, with more and more automation, robotics, etc., that we are seeing even in the manufacturing sector, we've seen a decoupling of revenue with employment growth. Now, in that scenario, while the government is doing its part to put incentives on the table, what are we talking about in terms of the actual need for higher employment? At FICCI, what are you hearing from your membership in terms of what they seek to hire and what the job market trends look like at this point in time, what the hiring trends look like? Will these incentives spur companies to hire more if they were not planning to?
Hi, Shereen. Good to be on the show. I think, we have to break this up into different parts. I think one major part here is that while we talk about automation or, large automated manufacturing, it is linked with a very large supply chain. And that large supply chain consists of a whole bunch of medium and smaller enterprises and other areas. So they all have to be linked seamlessly if we have to be efficient in manufacturing. I think the scheme, while it will also attract large industries, because large industries are putting up new plants, they are expanding their own capacities, which require people. This scheme will focus and impact a large number of medium and small enterprises where people still work more employee intensive, as well as sectors, particularly which are people intensive. So, for example, India's traditional sectors in terms of textiles, in terms of leather, in terms of gems and jewelry, a whole bunch of other agro-food processing, and some of these sectors, which are in fabrication and a bunch of other areas, they will benefit a lot. So I think from our point of view, it's a very welcome scheme. And we look forward to participating from industry in the best way possible.
Right. Do you have an assessment of your own needs at this point in time, Mr. Singhania, or what you would need across JK Paper? What kind of hiring you intend to do and whether this is going to spur that decision?
We are in the midst of different expansion programs. And one of the things which caught my attention, excited me, was that while this is aimed at first-time hires, at the same time is providing incentive for employers and people particularly who've got a good track record on Provident Fund, etc. So I will have to work out the calculations. But yes, I eagerly need to see and await to see how we can benefit from this. This should certainly spur people like us as well.
Anant, you came back to the point about the announcements that were made in the budget, and it was a package that the government had announced. In fact, my colleague Shivani Bazaz just reporting that the government is looking at further modifying the internship scheme because it hasn't taken off as per the expectations of the government itself. Now, I go back again to the point that we've been making about CapEx not really picking up, again to the government's own expectation. In light of where things stand, especially as far as private CapEx plans are concerned, do you really see this scheme, at least as far as the large industries are concerned, picking up from a hiring perspective?
Right. I think it's a complete cycle. So as and when you have MSMEs, labor-intensive industries recruiting more and more people, that will result in increased demand, more money in the hands of the people. And as the scheme fires with more money, people will spend more. And so overall, there are two parts which both benefit each other. I would also say that the boosting of private investment, we need to look at the firing of other aspects, such as infrastructure investments that have been happening, will start making us more and more competitive over time. And some amount of onus is on entrepreneurs themselves. One is, I would say, we need to continuously invest more and more in R&D. And the second is solve problems for the world. And as we are able to do that, we can export more, sell more, and grow at a pace faster than necessarily India growth, and take advantage and replace demand from or supply from China. So with some of this happening, whether it is what the government is doing and some things entrepreneurs have to do themselves to boost the private capex spend.
Right. You talked about R&D. One of the other decisions of the cabinet today is approving the R&D scheme to scale up research and development. Again, this was an announcement made in the budget, an allocation of 1 lakh crore rupees. What the government is now finalized is that the private sector will be encouraged to scale up R&D. The government will also look at supporting acquisition of technologies which are critical or of high strategic importance. It will also facilitate the setting up of a deep tech fund of funds. So there are more details now attached to that announcement that had come in on that 1 lakh crore rupee allocation for an R&D scheme. Anant, a quick word from you and Mr. Singhania on this.
Yes, sure. So FICCI has been working very closely with the government in terms of advising how to utilize the 1 lakh crore fund effectively. And it's great to see that come into picture. If you look at the most recent news, there have been stresses with respect to rare earth availability, fertilizer, specialist fertilizer and specialist chemicals that have been a challenge from China. So I think this is a very welcome focus area that the government has chosen, such as areas of economic security, strategic importance, and the deep tech fund of funds. But I think with that, we hope that R&D as a percentage of investment, which in India is somewhere between 1% and 2%, and the developed world is somewhere around 3%, we are able to take that up, have a lot more IP, innovation, and take a large part of global supplies and manufacturing as well.
Mr. Singhania, a quick word from you.
I think this is a very welcome move. And, to give you a practical example, in the old days, a lot of Indian companies had technology tie-ups, and Anant will relate to it because we also have a tires business. They have a tires business. We used to get our technology from overseas. But in the last few decades, we have invested hundreds of crores in new R&D centers as well as centers of excellence with IITs. wherein we develop our own technology. So any schemes like this will be a boost to doing this. And it's not just one industry; it's a whole bunch of industries. If India is to compete on a global scale with the global quality and a global supply chain, we need to develop this. Now, Shereen, that there have been, with protectionism rising, there have been further restrictions on certain technology flows. So we need to develop our own technologies, and this is really a big step in the right direction. If I may, Shereen, take half a second to just add one more aspect of what you talked about earlier. I think one important aspect we have to see is that also employment generating sectors like services, they are also getting to be far more organized and formalized. In the earlier days, because they were informal, you didn't have a track record, you didn't have provident fund, records, etc. And a lot of the scheme talks about transfer of payments through digital means, through a direct bank transfer, using Aadhaar schemes. So today, large restaurants, large transport and logistics companies should also be beneficiaries of this scheme.
Yes, that certainly is the idea and the objective, but we will have to wait to see how both these schemes pan out. Anant, Goenka, Pati, Singhania, always a pleasure. Many thanks for joining us here on CNBC-TV18 with your perspective on the decisions cleared by the Union Cabinet today. But with that, it is time for us to wrap up this edition of Business 360. The news will continue right here on CNBC-TV18. We're back in a moment with more. Stay with us.